Allie and I are in Dublin, Ireland, and we've been here for 16 years. So we are facing the same phenomenon with regard to the coronavirus as the rest of the world. The guards are roaming around the community, not in a threatening way, but they will stop you if they catch you, or if they see you out walking, they'll ask, do you live in the neighborhood? What are you doing, etc.
How do you start to view all of this? You've been processing for a few weeks. What is your view? What is your current take of what's going on?
Missionally speaking, one of the basic questions that we're always asking is, how can we meet people repetitiously? Before the virus hit, that was the question. After the virus is here, same question. The answer now is different. Now we've had to switch and do the group thing online. So you continually go back to that question. Even though the landscape changes, you still want to, how do I engage people?
What are some of the things that you're trying right now that are kind of new in the realm of experimentation or innovation?
Before we met with a pub discussion group called Socrates Cafe. We had 2 of those going per month. We would meet in a cafe. Now we meet online. We use Zoom. Zoom is very handy. There wasn't really much of a switch in terms of how we ran the cafe as to how we run the Zoom talk. We would gather together, have a social time, kind of a get to know you time. Then we'd do the breakout rooms, and then we'd reconvene. Our little church plant meets. It's small. It was about 12 people. On Sundays, it's more or less a teaching time, sharing time. We even have communion. Everybody brings their own bread and cup. So we just become innovative. You just kind of go, how do we do the one another's in this context?
How is God working through this? How is he redeeming COVID-19?
It's an opportunity to learn, because obviously we cannot change the landscape at this moment. With our supporting network in the States, they've been absolutely great in contacting us saying, look, could you give a live update? In fact, our sending church, the Winona Lake Grace Brethren Church in Winona Lake, Indiana, I'm going to be hosting an ABF this coming Sunday from Dublin to our sending Adult Bible Fellowship in Winona Lake. And we're just going to do it on Zoom. I don't think this would have ever crossed our minds up until this minute. It just wouldn't have. I had a pastor from a church in Maryland say, it's a shame we didn't think of this earlier in how to use online social media, the internet for connection.
What is God speaking to you specifically related to this time and how he wants you to grow either personally or in your mission?
If that can be wrapped up in one word, it would be presence, because his presence breaks all kind of barriers. In fact, nothing can stop his presence. In fact, it just hit me the other day that the only thing the Great Commission promises is his presence. And if we miss that, then we're just doing religious stuff. We're just going to resort to spin, kind of encouched in the gospel, but it's still going to be spin. So if we can go back to presence, he's here, and if I live or if I die, coronavirus or not, he is with me.
As the whole world seems to be sort of changing around us, what questions do you hope that people will ask that will help them understand their own personal calling, their own personal mission even better?
How can I live out the gospel under the noses of my non-Christian friends that make them say, I don't believe what Roy believes, but I am envious of what he believes? And that requires, I guess, spending a lot of time with non-Christians in their context, living out the gospel.
Give us a sense of your hope for how our world is going to change from a God perspective, from a mission perspective.
I think the Western project has created the illusion that science will deliver us and that we'll get out of life alive. I would hope that that would be severely fractured. And in that fracturing, people would say, maybe I ought to go back to reconsidering God and hope and this old message that I, for whatever reason, am ignorant of and prejudiced against or apathetic toward. And maybe I should revisit this.